PackSwap. PackSwap is a cross-chain DEX. The problems we see with trading in the marketplace today, 90% plus of trades are done on centralized exchanges, which is kind of ironic for a world that's supposed to be decentralized. Sometimes they take your money, sometimes it's your data. I saw yesterday Coinbase got hacked. So now people know what crypto you've got and what your home address is. I find that kind of strange. Single chain DEXs, Uniswap, have taken a good chunk of the market from sexes over the last year. I gather it's gone from 1% up to maybe 4 or 5%. There's still a long way to go. But the biggest gap in the marketplace is cross-chain DEXs. They rely on nodes and validators, things done off-chain. They're expensive, and the consumer ends up paying for it. What is PackSwap? We're a cross-chain DEX. We can swap from Bitcoin to Ethereum. We can do permissionless listings. And most importantly, we're probably 90% cheaper in most cases than cross-chain DEXs, and about 45% cheaper than Uniswap. We're built on the CoinWeb architecture. CoinWeb's a level 2 that acts as a kind of protocol across different blockchains using reactive smart contracts to establish where those blockchains sit at any particular moment in time. How do we compare against the competitors? TorChain and a couple of forks, Maya Protocol and Chainflip, are doing something like $200 million a day, compared to, I think, the $500 billion a day of crypto trading, of which about 25-30% is Bitcoin native. That's a fraction of 1% of the available volume of cross-chain transactions that are happening on CEXs. As we said before, it's built on the CoinWeb protocol. What we do, it's like an escrow. We bond twice the value of the transaction using CoinWeb tokens, and only for the period of the trade. So unlike validators who are putting up millions of dollars and locking it up for the whole time, this collateral is actually only used for the period of the trade. And the users of the platform, we've got retail institutions, we've got aggregators, DEX aggregators like 1inch looking to integrate, wallets like Trust Wallets. We've got the liquidity providing provision for retailers to come in and plug in their own liquidity. And we've got builders who can use the features of it. So, for example, we've got an AI agent company, to bring it back to today's topic, building on the CoinWeb architecture now. They're going to be able to list a token permissionlessly on our DEX, and then they'll be able to take in tokens from 11 different chains and utilize them to do whatever you ask your AI agent to do. What are our goals? Well, first off, it's to win trade from the existing cross-trade DEXs, the TorChains, the Chainflips. That's a couple of $100 million a day of trading volume. We can offer higher margins to the aggregators, to the DEX aggregators than they're getting currently, and we can offer more chains and we can offer more tokens. If you go up one level to single chain DEXs, then we're about 45% cheaper, and we're talking about $6-7 billion a day of trading volume. But we could actually win market share away from centralized exchanges. We're pretty much the same price as a retail customer would pay, about 0.35%. There's no KYC. You don't get your funds frozen. And it's fully decentralized. The team, myself, I've been in crypto since I met Brock in 2013. Eric Benz, who's the ex-CEO of Changely. Oliver Smithers was the CTO of Sony Pictures. Toby Gilbert is the founder of CoinWeb, which is the level 2 that we're based upon. And since becoming a portfolio company of DNA, we now welcome Brock and Scott as founders of PackSwap. We're live with the beta of our DEX. You can go to beta.packswap.io now. I think the limits today are about 5,000, but we're hoping by the end of next week we'll be at 20,000 limits. We're integrating with our first 6 merchants. That should get us up to about $10 million a day of volume. We bootstrapped the venture up until now, but we're now doing a $5 million round on the DNA deal desk. If you click onto this will take you to our socials, and it will allow, if you're interested in liquidity provision, there's a contact there. If you want to build on it, there's a contact for that. So, with that very brief presentation, any questions?
For cross-chain transactions, are you using?
No bridges. What happens is the CoinWeb architecture uses reactive smart contracts to monitor the underlying state of each blockchain. So they determine when the transaction has occurred. If the transaction fails for any reason, we've got the collateral in CoinWeb. But once the transaction has occurred, you can see it happening in the meme pool on the site.
Correct. Okay, his circumstances we can use it.
No nodes, no validators, no bridges. Everything is on chain. That's why it's so much cheaper and quicker and more secure. You don't have the traditional vectors of attack that you have with those other dexes. Nope. Happy it was short and sweet. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chandani.